Hey, it's Belay. Welcome back for another gear tutorial. Today we're going to talk about sleeping pads, an item that I find to be of the utmost importance in your sleeping bag. Like sleeping bags, I think you're going to find two different kinds of sleeping pads. You're going to see closed cell and you're going to see open cell. Now, closed cell sleeping pads are foam, right? They look like a yoga mat, a thick yoga mat. They're usually about, maybe a half an inch thick. They're blue, they're tan, they're yellow, they're silver. They're usually attached on the outside of someone's pack. They're a foam mat is what they are. They range anywhere from $29.99 to $49.99. If you pay $50 for a sleeping pad, shame on you. You can easily find them for about $39. Paying $50 for a closed cell, I find to be unjustified on the retailer's end. So anyways, the benefits of a closed cell sleeping pad is that they're extremely durable. You don't have to worry about punctures or holes or stickers or anything like that. They're foam. They're easy. They're simple. You can use them like that. You don't have to blow them up. You can get to camp, throw them out, and 10 seconds later, lay on them. They're a foam mat. They're well insulated, right? So you can use them in the winter time or in the fall or in the early spring, and they'll keep your backside warm. They're cheap. Compared to an open cell, which can range anywhere, I would say from $70 to low $300. Compared to that, they're cheaper. So there are benefits to closed cell foam sleeping pads. The downside is that they are not comfortable. I hiked the Appalachian Trail the first time with a closed cell sleeping pad, and every single night, every other hour, I had to roll over because my hips would hurt. I kind of just thought that's how sleeping in the outdoors was. It's just a little uncomfortable at night. And that's not true. I later learned that that's my experience with a closed cell sleeping pad. If I wanted comfort and if I wanted to cease hip pain, then open cell sleeping pad was something that I was going to have to invest in. And I do invest in them because that's how comfortable they are. I think a lot of people, they don't want to sleep outside because they think it's going to be uncomfortable. They'd rather sleep in their bed or a hotel bed. Truth be told, sleeping pads have come a long ways. They're very comfortable and they can be just as comfortable as a bed. In fact, even today at nighttime, I sleep on my sleeping pad. I do not have a bed, or a regular bed, right? I sleep on my sleeping pad. So real quick, open cell sleeping bag pads are blow-up mattresses. You pump breaths into them. They're air mattresses, just like one you might have at home. The difference is for backpacking or mountaineering or bike packing, they're made for that sport, so they're smaller and they're thinner. Now, those can range anywhere from $65 to the high 200s, the low 300s. The biggest price determining factor there is going to be the width of the pad. So, Thermarest might make one that's a half an inch thick, an air pad, okay? Well, other companies might make one that's 3 to 4 inches thick, and those are incredibly comfortable. That's like sleeping on a bed at home. So, and those are going to be way more expensive. So yeah, when it comes to an open cell sleeping pad, you are looking at anywhere from a half an inch blow up pad to 3 or 4 inches blow up pad, and you'll pay for those differences. Now, I actually don't think the thicker the pad, the more expensive the pad, the better. I don't think that. But before I get into what I think is best, let me tell you the pros of open cell. Pros and cons. Open cell. The pro, extremely comfortable. You'll have a good night's sleep. It ceased my hip pain. The con is that They're fragile. They're susceptible to punctures. You got to be careful where you lay them down, and you got to dust them off and clean them off before you pack them up. They're fragile. That's a higher maintenance than a closed cell sleeping pad. Another con is they're pricey. They're not as cheap as closed cell. So, you know, con, fragile, pricey, demands more upkeep. Okay? Benefit, extremely comfortable. Now, you have two different kinds. One's strength is the other one's weakness, and vice versa. What I recommend is a blend of two. Just like a sleeping bag, how you can have a down synthetic blend, for a sleeping pad, you can have a foam air blend, and that is what I recommend. Sea to Summit Comfort Plus is the best sleeping pad I've ever slept on. It's $140. Women, it's purple. It's wider at the hips just for us. I recommend it. Men, they have a Comfort Plus for you too. I don't really know the color. I think it might be red or blue. But 100% worth every single dollar you're going to spend. Sea to Summit Comfort Plus. Now, why I like the foam air blend. You know, airbags, completely 100% open cell sleeping pads, you know, that are 3 to 4 inches thick. You're going to have to breathe in a lot of breaths to get that sucker aired up before you go to bed. Like 30, 40, 50 breaths, okay? Now, with the blend, what happens is you throw out that pad and the foam is going to expand. And then all you need to do is throw in about 10 breaths and then you're ready to go. So the manufacturers and your outdoor retailers, they're going to tell you that the pad is self-inflating. Well, no, it's not self-inflating per se. What's happening is you throw it out and the foam is expanding. And then all you need to do is top it off with air, as opposed to 100% open cell where you're having to pump in all the air because it's just a thin layer of material around it, okay? There's no foam in complete 100% open cell pads. The blend is foam and then you top it off with air. All right, so the benefit of this beautiful blend is less breaths at nighttime when you get to camp. It's more durable. The material is hardier. You're not as susceptible to punctures. You are susceptible, but you're not as susceptible to punctures. And that's key to me. You know, I sleep on my sleeping pad every single night of the year. So I need something that holds up. I need something that's really durable, comfortable, that I experience no pain. This is not just a weekend hobby for me that I can deal with the pain. No, this is 365 days a year. I sleep on my sleeping pad. I want comfort. So if you want durability, if you want easy setup, right, 10 breaths at night, and you want durability, then Sea to Summit Comfort Plus all the way. They offer a women's specific, which I recommend, and then they offer a men's specific, which I would recommend. Now, I want to talk about R value real quick. And we need to think about down, and we need to think about synthetic sleeping bags for a second to really understand the R value. So when you're sleeping at nighttime in the fall or winter or early spring, and you're sleeping on the ground in your sleeping bag, you might remember or you might notice that it's never the top of your body that's cold. It's the back side of your body it's cold, all right? It's not the body parts that are, you know, facing the freezing air. It's the body parts that are laying on the frozen or freezing ground. So you need to have a sleeping pad that's insulated enough that your backside is not cold. Now, closed cell sleeping pads, the foam mats, they do a really good job. Those are solid foam. They do a really good job of insulating that cold ground from your body. When it comes to open cell sleeping pads, now that's rated in an R value, like the letter R. It's you'll see an R value on your sleeping pad box when you go shopping. The higher the R value, the better the insulation, all right? Now, the Sea to Summit Comfort Plus is rated at a 5 R value, meaning that's a 4-season sleeping pad. It's good for summer, spring, fall, and winter. All right, that's what I recommend. I don't care what season you're planning on taking a journey. I recommend on getting a sleeping pad that insulates the ground beneath you very well. And you probably want to look at an R4 to an R5 to an R6. All right, if you're gonna buy an R3 or an R2, I would just plan on using that in the summertime, okay? But that would be my recommendation, is if you are a cold sleeper and if you are going to hike or bike in the fall, winter, and early spring, definitely go for a higher R value. And there you're gonna start looking at R4s and R5s. The Comfort Plus from Sea to Summit is an R5. Sea to Summit, like I said, 140. That's very average, worth every penny. And I think that sums it up. I think that just like the sleeping bags, you're gonna leave this video and you're gonna know that there's 2 different kinds, right? Closed cell, foam, cheap, durable, easy. Open cell, air pad, fragile, susceptible, expensive, extremely comfortable. Which do you choose? Belay says compromise. Go with the foam and air. Go to where you can throw it out, the foam expands, pump 10 breaths, and you're gonna have an awesome night's sleep on 3 inches, right? The Sea to Summit Comfort Plus is a 3-inch thick pad. Now, I would be concerned with weight, okay? When you're gonna go shopping for your sleeping pads, do think about weight. I think the Comfort Plus is 32 ounces, so 2 pounds. That's about as heavy as I would go. I wouldn't go any heavier than that. Try to think about weight. I would not be concerned with bulkiness, right? The open cell sleeping pads had the capability to pack down really, really, really small. That's a benefit. But you can take a blended foam, air, self-inflating mat and still pack it down that it doesn't take up much space. Most people will say, oh, it's so bulky. They're just rolling it up. There are different ways to roll or fold your sleeping pads where it doesn't take up a lot of space, and I'll show you that on trail. So I would be cognizant of the weight of the sleeping pad. Don't necessarily worry about the bulkiness. I can show you some tricks to making it take up less space. But that's it. Happy shopping. Those are the different types of sleeping pads. Sleeping in the outdoors doesn't have to be uncomfortable. It doesn't have to be painful. It can be awesome. Cheers.